What's up, everybody? Super cool show today. Heather Scott just completed her first ever marathon. She did it as a challenge to herself after turning 40. She needed some sort of physical test, and the Des Moines Marathon is what she chose. Her and I worked the night shift last night. Came home, did our respective parenting things, got a workout in, and then sat down and did a video conference episode. Turned out really cool. We talk everything: training, recovery, nutrition, mental obstacles, physical obstacles, and then get into the race day. Wife, mother, daughter, sister, all those roles while training since June for this marathon's a big undertaking. And through the whole thing, she remained real positive. She's a super good coworker. I'm pretty honored to call her a friend, and she's a super supporter of the show. So it was nice to sit down and visit with her one-on-one about doing hard things, which was a marathon. It's a big deal. I tease Heather a lot because she's a good sport about it, but running a marathon's a big deal. So we talk all things that. Other than that, nothing new to report. I'll get on with the show. Heather Scott, thanks for listening. Oh, one more thing. I do need to say something. Like, subscribe, share the show, give it a rating, whatever you got to do. We are getting some new listeners, which is obviously cool. But the more we interact with the show, the easier it is for people to find. So please do me a favor. Like, subscribe. We tried the video thing. I'm going to try to upload this to YouTube with the video on it. I don't know if I'll get to or not, but we're going to try that. Outside of that, sorry, I got the post-night shift yawns. Please do that. And then, obviously, if there's anything you want to talk about or hear me talk about or do, obviously, let me. All right, that's it. Let's get on with it. Work hard. Be kind. Bye. Yeah, you remember when I was having all those problems with, a year ago or so on the audio and stuff like that? It was just, I just kind of abandoned it and did everything on the phone.
Was this going to work then?
I don't know. Do you want to be on YouTube or do you not want to be on YouTube?
I don't really care.
I don't really know. Let's just go with it and see where it goes. Yeah, what have you been doing this morning?
I took the kids to school, and then I worked out, took the dog on a walk, did some chores.
Routine post night shift stuff.
Yep.
Do you feel awful yet? I kind of started to feel kind of terrible.
I had coffee this morning, and then I had my pre-workout.
Ooh. What's your Jesus? Both of them?
I went to go on my run, and I was trying to close the garage door, and I was starting to shake a little bit, and I was like, all right, I gotta go run.
You gotta go run. How far did you run?
Just 3.5 today.
Yeah. Just 3.5. We're about 72 hours post. Tell everybody what you did on Saturday.
I ran my first marathon.
Yeah, buddy. That's what we're going to talk about today, isn't it?
Yep.
First marathon. 24.2 miles, right?
Close.
What is it?
26.
Oh, 26. Yeah, I wouldn't know.
The last 2 miles were the worst. So
yeah, those were. If you could cut it into 24 miles, it'd probably been cooler, huh?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you something. What pre-workout do you use? Everybody's got their own thing.
Bloom.
Never heard of it.
It's for people with sensitive guts.
Oh. Like people that are allergic to wheat?
People with sensitive guts.
Sure.
Me.
All right. Well, that's cute.
Yeah.
You remember when Spark was a big thing? We still probably have some of that running around the house.
I drank that until Emily stopped selling it.
Oh, I forgot she did that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I bet
she was my supplier.
I bet we still got some packets laying around the house that are probably hard as rocks by now.
Yeah, it was not good. Bloom at least tastes good.
Did you run outside this morning on the outside or on the treadmill?
I ran outside and I thought it was going to be nice because when we left work this morning, it was calm but then when I got out there, it was breezy.
Breezy in the open.
Mm-hmm.
let's get on the marathon talk because it's kind of cool. It's really a big deal. I know that I tease you a lot about several things in life, but running a marathon is a big deal, right? Especially in the you know the jobs that we do with the schedules we keep. It's not easy, and I don't know how easy it is for a 9 to 5er. I really don't. Maybe it's just as hard for them, but I think for us, it adds a degree of difficulty, in my opinion. So take for last night, for example, you and I worked a night shift. Would you have trained for the marathon around that? Like, would you have ran yesterday day and then again found some sort of way to train today?
So my training schedule, so I followed a training schedule that I found online on the actual marathon website. And the first part, so I kind of have to go back.
Yeah, start wherever you want to start with this whole.
Yeah.
When did you start training?
30th.
When did you decide to do the marathon?
November. So I turned 40 in January. Last November, I was like, I don't know, thinking about what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to be 40. What should I do? And so
why do you think that's such a big deal for people when they hit a milestone birthday? They're like, I need to do some shit that I've never done or I've never considered, and it has to be big and epic.
I don't know. Like, growing up, I never would have fathomed that I would run a marathon. I started running half marathons after I graduated college, and I've run multiple ones of those. And then 2 years ago, my sister was running Dam to Des Moines, and she was like, "Hey, you should run with me." But my daughter's softball schedules never worked out, so I could never do it. And I was like, "No, I can't do it." Well, it turned out that Dam to Des Moines was on a Saturday morning, and she didn't play until Saturday afternoon. So my sister was like, "You should do it."
How far is that?
13.1 miles.
So that's half marathon.
So the furthest I had run before that was maybe 8 miles. Like, I had not trained for it. I was not thinking about it. Nutritionally, I wasn't thinking about it, nothing. And I was like, hey, why not? I'm not expecting anything, so I'll go do it. And I ran only 5 minutes slower than my PR in that half. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I can push myself a little bit more. So that was 2 years ago. So then last year when I was getting ready for my 40th, I was like, well, maybe this is something that I know that I could push myself for. Like, it'll be a booger, but maybe I can do it. And so I just kind of like thought about it. And then we went to dinner with some of our friends, and the guy is like a real go-getter. And he's like, just do it. Like, why wouldn't you? Just do it. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And then we had another meeting with like another person, and he had just run the marathon the year before. And he's like, you should do it. So like there was multiple things that lined up. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to sign up for it. I'm not going to tell anybody that I signed up for it, because if I can't do it, that'll be a real letdown. So I signed up for it last November. And the winter was really difficult for me. Like I said earlier, my gut is weird, and I had a lot of gut issues over the winter, and I was thinking there's no way I'm going to be able to run this far, because long distances for me tend to make my stomach hurt. So I worked through those gut issues, had to do some elimination diet stuff, figured stuff out. And then I found this, the training schedule on the website. So whenever I trained for a half, it was like speed. However fast I can do it, I'm going to train hard. I'm not really following a schedule. I'm just going to add a mile each week. And that's just how I've always done it. So I found this book, and it was the 80-20 method. I don't know if you've heard anything about this.
I've heard of the 80-20, like in general.
Yeah. Which was like,
or 20% of the people do 80% of the work or whatever. That is that same thing.
And it's kind of like that. So 80% of your workouts are like zone 2, like your workouts.
Right on my
right where you
That was a dig. I just saw what you did there. That was a dig.
So 80% are zone 2, and then the 20% are your higher zone workouts, which was like baffling to me. I was like, how am I going to get better? How will I get faster? How will I ever get in shape for this? My husband had been preaching it to me too. He's like, you don't have to go out and run hard every single time. I'm like, what? Why? So I look up this training thing, and it's totally 80-20. Like a lot of my runs were supposed to be in zone 2, which was incredibly difficult for me. Like, because when I started training, it was 95% humidity out, and like going outside, I was in zone 2. So I tried to stick to that pretty closely, work through it off. I mean, if I had to work a night shift, I adjusted my training schedule a little bit. But the nice thing about training for heart rate training is it's based on how you feel. Like if I'm tired and my heart rate's higher, then I don't push myself as hard, and which is what you're supposed to do with the workout. And I think that helped me the most out of anything, because I got really sick in August. Looking back, I think I probably had COVID. I don't know, but I felt miserable, and I was still trying to get my workouts in, and I just did them slower. Like my heart rate was higher, and so this was the first time I'd ever done heart rate training.
What did you use for a monitor?
My Apple Watch.
Did you have the chest strap with it or no?
No, I didn't. I don't love.
I didn't feel like it was accurate.
Probably. I didn't love the idea of heart rate training because I don't like paying attention to it that much. I don't like looking at my watch constantly.
It's hard to pace yourself. Not that I've done it a lot, but I figure, I don't know how to slow down.
Yes.
Yeah, I either slow down too much, and then I got to like crank it back up to get my heart rate up there, and then I shoot past it, and then so I don't know. Which is why a guy like me really digs zone 2, because that's
zone 2, yeah.
state.
Yeah.
I can just set it and forget it.
The treadmill. So I knew that I was going to run too fast because of my half marathon times, and I knew I would not. So my goal was to be under 4 hours for the marathon, and I knew that if I ran my half marathon times, I would just die. There's no way I would make it. And so I started on the treadmill, and I made myself run slower, which was incredibly painful. But that way I was like, okay, this is the pace that I need to get used to running and I had a pace on the tread that was kind of my goal. And once I got used to that pace, I was able to take it outside and run a little bit easier outside at that pace.
Do you have a true form treadmill or do you have a motorized treadmill?
I have the Peloton treadmill, motorized.
Does that have a motor in it that makes the belt spin?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you feel like it translated outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at your training calendar right now, oddly enough, because you sent it to me, and it looks like a Christmas advent calendar where you just cross off the days to Christmas.
It felt so good.
There's a bunch of big X's. I'll probably put a picture of it up on the Instagram page that 4 people look at. But
I took a picture of it all filled out with my medal and my bib number next to it to remember.
I've got some pages left. It looks like I got some boxes left unchecked here. But what was the longest? Is the 14 miles? Is that the longest you ran in practice?
Oh, no, I did 22.
You did do 22, like leading up to? I don't have that.
So 22 was the week, I guess 3 or 4 weeks before.
Oh, I'm looking.
September 22nd.
Oh, there it is. 22, 24 miles. Holy crap. Did it taper back after that?
Yeah.
Like,
then you taper
shorter
off.
Distances?
The next 2 weeks, yeah.
If you went shorter, did you have to bump up your heart rate? Like if it was a shorter distance, was it a higher?
I ran faster. Yeah.
Did you ever add up all those miles in this whole thing and to see how many miles you ran since? No?
I should have. I kind of kept track like over the months because my phone would do that. And I think in September I ran 180 miles, and August would have been close to that.
And that was that would have been your third month of training. So you had a whole July, you had a whole August, you had a whole September, and then you had most of October, a couple weeks in October, but that was probably tapering down. Yeah. How did you change your nutrition? And how did you look at nutrition? Did you look at nutrition differently during the training?
Oh yeah.
And then how did you adjust? Where did you get your information? Did you have that had to have been a game changer for somebody who casually eats to now somebody who's eating for performance?
Yeah. Nutrition's always been hard for me. My gut issues have gone back a long way. And in the winter, I figured out that gluten and dairy were huge triggers for me. So I had to figure out a way to get carbs in me that didn't involve that. So I focused more on, I mean, I was eating like bars and stuff like that. And I tried to focus more on natural foods while I was training. I would eat a lot of chicken, rice, carbs, oatmeal. It's not a day without peanut butter. A lot of peanut butter.
Yeah, sure.
Not great. But
That's just because you enjoy it. Peanut butter by itself is not a great fuel for long
it's
distance
not.
running, right?
But I love
It's
peanut butter.
calories.
And that's what I need. I had a hard time. You'd asked me before, and I did listen to that podcast you sent me. I did have a hard time consuming enough calories, and it wasn't because I was trying to lose, but when you run that much, and I can't sit and eat a huge meal, it just makes me feel sick.
Yeah, sure.
And then if I run that many miles, I don't have an appetite when I get back. And so nutrition was difficult for me to try to figure out how. Usually the next day, though, I was like ravenous. So the day of, it was like, I would make myself eat something like I love burgers. So eating like a cheeseburger, I loved doing that. But nutrition was definitely difficult. I didn't really like seek out expert opinion on it because I kind of had to figure it out on my own. Like,
did you track carbohydrates though? Because that's what what little I've done so far to get ready for that next year's prep is. And I'm not a big carb guy. Like I've historically been fairly anti-carb because I found great success with managing my inflammation and some sort of pain issues by not having carbohydrates at all. But it comes with a cost. Like my output isn't all that great. Like today, for example, I did work out after our night shift too, and I haven't eaten yet because I'm trying to mitigate this date damage that I've caused myself inadvertently. So I'm fasted, right? And I'm also sleep deprived. So like there was nothing. There was no gas in the tank at all. So I understand the importance of it. And I am now much more pro carb. And I can see it when I track, like I'm much more carbs than I've ever been, probably even more so than protein, and way less fats. So the point of that is I know my performance is better because I focused on good carbohydrates. If you're not a big eater, like you're not a big girl, and so you know, no offense, but I mean you're petite, so you don't require a lot of calories on a daily basis. But now when you're running 14, 15 miles in a day, you got to shove some stuff down, and it's got to be like the good simple carbohydrates, like the quick. Even pastas are, coming back in vogue. The sweet potato,
which I can't do.
right? Because so now you're in a big deal. Like this is a big deal for you.
I ate. So I found gluten-free bread, and I actually ate a bunch of sandwiches. I ate a ton of like turkey and hard salami. With like hard cheeses were okay for me, so I ate like cheddar cheese on like a big old fat sandwich. So that was good for me. Like that the day of my runs, I was able to get that in me.
What about fruit?
I ate a lot of fruit. Yeah,
a lot of bananas, a lot of.
I ate bananas.
If you're interested, 2 dates have 33 carbohydrates in them. If you're curious,
I would make a lot of smoothies. I would do a lot of strawberries, blueberries, and like protein powder with oat milk. Oat milk lattes. So that was good for post race or post runs.
How did you structure your day around training? So let's go through a normal day, not after a night shift. You haven't worked in a couple days. So this is like a normal day off for you. How did you structure training around your domestic schedule and your nutrition? And then we'll get into talk about how you had to adjust that for work.
Yeah, I would typically get up early, and run before anybody woke up. Because a lot of
this pretty early to get those miles in. Like
because a lot of this was during the summer too, so my kids were home.
Yeah.
So I would get up at 5 4:35 and run, and then be done by the time people got up in the morning. Well, Blake was usually up. Blake, my husband, ran a lot of my longer runs, the beginning of them with me, so that was
Okay.
nice. But no, I usually just got up early and got my stuff done, and
Did
then
you
went
do it?
along with.
Did you do it fasted? If you got up that early, did you eat something before you went? Did you
Took
take nutrition with you on your runs?
Yes, I found SIS. It's not really a gel, they're packets. But yeah, I would take those on my long runs. It was hard for me to eat that early in the morning.
Yeah.
If I did eat something, it was a bobo, a
What's
chocolate
that?
chip. It's like a oatmeal oat kids snack thing. It's like 150 calories and it's straight carbs. And it was easy on my stomach. They're good.
Um, what'd you do for recovery? Oh, so let's take it into like you worked. Let's say we worked last night, for example. What would you have done yesterday? What would you be doing today?
I would have run in the morning and then napped in the afternoon. The big thing for me was stretching. I had a lot of hip issues while I was training, just because of my body wasn't used to running that much. So hip flexor and like glute stuff, I would do lots of stretching and rolling, massage gun, that kind of stuff. So that's probably what I would do the next day. I'm not very good at taking off days, so I really had to pay attention to those on my training schedule.
How often did they schedule an off day? And what
Twice
did
a week.
off mean? Did that mean absolutely no activity, or was that like an active recovery?
Cross training for 30 minutes at zone 1 or 2. So I'd usually hop on my bike or do strength training or yoga
How often did they program that in?
twice a week.
Oh,
I was
well.
running 5 days a week and then whatever for the next 2
So
days.
what about the days we did 24s? Was that, did you just schedule, did you adjust your training? So if Tuesday was a high intensity day, but you had to work, would you just swap your rest day for that?
I'd try to get it done before I went to work.
For
There
real?
was there was days I was on the streets at 4 in the morning running.
Huh.
Those were the
24?
days I was like, oh, what am I doing? Why do I really what? Why? But it was worth it in the end. I didn't have a ton of those days. I did try to move some of my days around a little bit. If I
Yeah.
knew I was going to do a 24 on a long run, I would maybe try to do the long run the day before. I never did a long run like coming off of a 24 because knowing that there's a chance I'd be exhausted. So
Oh,
I'd rather,
that sounds terrible, actually. Like to just sit
yeah.
there and pound out a bunch of miles at 4 in the morning and then go to your job for 24 hours, knowing that there might not be much of a break in there, or if there is, it's going to be real short.
I'd rather do it
Bold move.
before though than after
Oh,
when
for
I
sure.
know
For
I'm going to be
sure.
tired.
Stretching, rolling, yoga, that was basically your recovery. You taking supplements? No, nothing for muscle soreness,
I
nothing
mean,
for.
I take magnesium every day, but
You take that
nothing
at night?
special. No, in the morning.
Hmm.
Nope.
How did the family adjust to your new schedule?
Well, it didn't affect them too much because I mean, the kids were asleep whenever I train. I would just tell them if you wake up and I'm not here, I'll be home soon. Blake was very supportive. Um, he always, he always joked. He's like, you know what happened to the first person that ran a marathon, right? And I don't know if you know the story. He died. He ran a marathon and then he died.
Didn't he die at the 26.2 mark?
Yes.
Which is why you have the marathon it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
His name was Marathon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't get it at first, but I think once he saw like my motivation and dedication and reasoning for doing it, he was very supportive. He went on a lot of so it was obviously dark on a lot of my long runs. So he would do a lot of like the first 10 miles with me. And he actually ran the half on Sunday. Because
Oh, we did?
he was ready. Yeah.
Oh,
He
good.
did plenty of runs with me. So he was very supportive. I mean, I wouldn't say that my schedule really affected him too much because I tried not to let it. There was times when they would come down during the summer and I'm on the treadmill and I'd have to yell at them because Cooper's trying to show me something as I'm sprinting for a speed workout or something. No, it wasn't bad. They're used to it.
What kind of so leading up to the week of, where was your head? Like, was it?
I was nervous.
Yeah.
Because the most I'd done was 22. And it was a big deal to me. Like, there was a lot. This, I mean, I made a post about it on Facebook. Like, this was a lot more than just running. My family was, my parents are aging. And so dealing with that, I was able to think of a lot of things while I was running. Raising children, I had a lot of like parenting thoughts come to mind while I was running. So, like, the whole training up to it was really good for me. It was incredibly difficult, painful, and I learned a lot, but it was a good experience. But I was nervous for that day. My stomach had been really off on all of my long runs for like a month and a half. So I was nervous about that. Um, I was just, I mean, you always get pre race jitters. And we were
But
driving
who were
to
you?
Maryland.
But what were you competing against? Were you
I
trying to
wanted
win?
to, I was competing against myself. I mean, I wanted to get under 4 hours. So I wanted to do that. And I wanted to feel, I didn't want it to be a burden to my family. I didn't want to go run and then be like sick the rest of the day. Cause I've had runs like that where I just feel terrible. So I didn't want that to happen. And I didn't want all of my training to like not work. I mean, I'd worked so hard for it. I didn't want to get out there and feel terrible and then not have a good run. So
What kind of pre-run routine was there? Like, you avoided injury, right? Like, through all this training, the best thing that you did was avoid injury. I assume.
kind of.
I've never
I
saw you hobble or limp or anything.
well, the
Other than your hip
first
injuries, other than your hip problems, they weren't
yeah,
really an injury. But
the first like this was not easy. The first 10-mile run I did, I was like, I can't do there's no way I can do this. I cannot run this far. I was running with my sister and she was texting her friend who's a physical therapist as we're running because I was like, I cannot move my toes are numb. I thought I either had MS because I was 40 and a woman. I was like, I have developed MS because my foot is numb, or I had a hip injury of some sort, but my hip didn't hurt. And so I went to her like the next morning after this terrible run. I was like, there's no way I can do it. And she was like, oh, you've got like, we're going to dry needle you. Oh, have you ever had that?
no, I've
Awful.
heard great things.
Well, it works like a charm,
Good.
but it made me sweat profusely. It hurt so bad. So I got dry needled and it was in different spots. Like first it was my right flexor and then it was my hamstrings. And so I had that. And then I got like 3 or 4 deep tissue massages, which were horrendous as well, but they worked. I don't think without that I could have been able to keep my legs moving. Um, but anyway, yeah, so that's why like the day of I was nervous. My sister was like, I couldn't want to puke. And I was like, yes, me too.
All right,
But
well then take us through the race. Take us
so
through the day and
yeah,
as mile by mile if you want to, or chunk or whatever. But take us through the race.
the morning of I was like, and that's been the beautiful thing about this is like I still had to be a mom and I still had to be a wife and I still had to be a softball coach. And so the morning of, Reagan had a softball game at 9 and Cooper was going to get picked up by my mom to come downtown. So I was still momming. Like I'm trying to stretch in
Yeah,
the living
sure.
room floor, still trying to do Reagan's hair for the softball game, like still making sure everyone's got enough clothes and everything. So it was like I didn't even really have time to like process it all. My sister came over. Blake drove us downtown. It was pretty quiet on the drive down. We were all
Getting your
Heidi's
game
like,
face on.
no, Heidi's like, I want to puke. I was like, me too. I'm nervous. So we get downtown and it's chaos. Like we left our house at 7. The race started at 8, and we were like, we've got plenty of time. Heidi and I walked up to the start line as they were playing the national anthem. So like
Whoa.
really didn't have much time to process, which was probably a good thing.
How many runners were there
I don't even know.
that
Like
did
we
you?
couldn't.
But all started at the same time though, right? Because it's chip time. So when you cross
Yes,
the start line, that's when your time goes.
they did waves.
Oh,
Um, But so it was almost good that I didn't have time to just stand there and like freak out about it. But so we got started and I felt real good. We stayed with a 3:45 pacer. The guy was holding his little sign with the 3:45. And I was like,
Were those people on bikes?
no, he was running.
And that's his whole job was to pace you? So he was going to run the whole marathon just as a guy that could set a cadence and a pace.
Yes. They had him like every 10 minutes or so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I knew, and that's what I was really looking forward to because I needed somebody to pace me. So first mile, we're going, I feel great. And my watch tells me our first mile was 8:17. And for a 3:45 pace, you're supposed to be at 8:35 miles, 8:35-minute miles. And I was like, we're going too fast, but surely he'll slow down. Second mile was
like just 15 seconds though, ish. Like that's a big deal?
Still, that's a big deal, yeah.
Right.
Second mile. It
didn't sound like a big deal, but I mean
when you're in 26 miles, it is.
All right.
Second mile was 8:20. And I was like, all right, come on, dude. Like, there's a reason I'm running with you. Third mile, 8:07. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
We're going in the wrong direction. But I still feel great. I can't describe how happy I was. And my, they take photos, professional photos on the sides. And almost every single photo, I'm smiling and like looking around. I was looking at all the signs and like all the people on the side. I don't know how I didn't see you.
I don't know how you didn't see us, but we missed you too. So
I don't know. But I was just like very much enjoying myself. So then we knew there was going to be a big hill at mile 3.5. 3.5 to 5 was like one steady uphill. And I had trained only hills because I live in a very hilly area of Urbandale. And it was very easy for me. I was like, well, this feels great. So I actually felt really, really good. I kept the 3:45 pacer right. I could make sure I could look back and see him. He was behind me. But I kept him in my sights until about mile 24, and then I took off. I ran with my sister until about 23. And then she said that her hip was starting to hurt and she needed to walk. And I knew that if I started to walk, I would not go again. So I kept going and it was very windy. Finishing on like the last half mile was terrible. But
yeah, you guys missed the good weather by a day. Like that Friday, I think, was perfect. No wind and pretty warm. And then Saturday came around and we had 15-mile-an-hour winds. It was a little chilly.
Yeah.
I got to ask, though, when you were talking about your pacing, how do you slow down 15 seconds over the course of a mile?
I think he was making up for the hill. I'm wondering. I don't know.
You knew you're going to be slower going up the hill, but like if you're supposed to be at 8:35 and you look at your watch and you're at 8:17, how would you as a runner slow that down over the course of 15, 16 seconds over an entire mile? Like to me, I just don't understand how I would slow down too much. And then I'd be like, oh crap, now I'm going too slow. So now I need to speed up again. But is there an art to that? To the whole
yeah. I mean, I've run.
Is it a cadence? Do you count steps?
Yes.
Do you count?
My cadence is almost always 180. Like when I go back.
And what does that mean? 180 what?
180 steps per minute. BPMs.
Okay. So that's the thing.
That is a thing. And that's like ideal running cadence is 180.
And that gets you what mile? What time?
It doesn't matter. Like you can lengthen them out or shorten them. They're just saying like I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Your cadence is supposed to be 180 for running.
And that's over any distance.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm sure for sprinting it's not, but for your endurance.
How did you keep track of it? You didn't count?
My phone will keep track of my cadence.
Oh, your phone will?
And I just know, that's what feels good for me. When I'm running, I know that I'm running 180. I've been running for 20 years, so I kind of know.
Did you do track or cross country in high school?
I did track, but I ran 400s. I didn't run long distance till after I graduated college.
And that was just for fun? Had you done any other like novelty races like Living History Farms, the Bix? No. What else is there? There's other big ones out there.
Like the Gladiator.
Yeah, those are like obstacle races, yeah, sure. But I meant like just like straight line running?
I did Dam to Des Moines. I've done that multiple times. I did Dam to Dam before it changed. And then I've done halves with the Des Moines half
When you
multiple times.
trained and then when you ran the marathon, did you listen to anything? Did you have
Yeah.
earbuds in, earphone? What did you listen
hmm
to? What was your thing?
A
Music?
mix, yeah, music, a mix of things. I had like BPM. There's like 180 BPM songs, so it like keeps you on
Oh,
beat.
so the beat is like your footsteps?
Yes. Yeah. Um, Yellow Card, some rock music. I had Britney Spears on there,
Yeah,
Stronger.
buddy.
Yeah.
What's
Reagan
up?
wanted me to put Praise the Lord song.
Yeah, sure.
Praise the Lord. That
Yeah, I've
one.
heard that one. Yeah. Catholic song though, right?
Huh?
Isn't that a Catholic song? Listen to
No.
that in the Catholic Church?
Christian church? My kids
All
go to
right.
Christian.
Sorry. That's the one time I've ever heard it was in the Catholic Church.
Oh, no. No,
Uh
I have a wide range of songs. It's a
books,
long time to run.
it is. But I find that not that I run a lot because I don't, but when I walk or ruck or whatever, I'll put something on and the next thing I know I'm a half mile into it and I haven't heard anything that podcast or that because that's when, you're the science links your walking and your running to like creativity and ideas and thoughts
Yeah.
and solutions to problems and stuff like that. So I found even just the other day I put on like when I did that ruck a week ago, I listened to an audiobook, which I don't do a lot of, but and it's a really good book, but I didn't hear most of it. Like over the course of 12 miles, I keyed in on the high points, like when I could tell when the author's inflection was getting a certain way, and then he was trying to make a point, and I would like key in on certain phrases and things like that. Sure, but the overall narrative of it, I was like gone. It was
Yeah.
just
No.
background noise. So I didn't know if
Yeah.
you went raw and just went out there and just alone in your thoughts.
When I trained, Peloton has like outdoor runs. And so I would take some of those and they just talk you through it and then play music as well. And so I would listen to some of those, but usually it's music and my thoughts.
My thoughts, man, isn't that something? A lot of
Yeah.
those.
Which was good. I mean, I think doing this made me realize it's like the literally only time that I am not distracted. If I'm at home, there's always something here. Even in my car, I always have something that has my attention. But when I'm out there, it's like
Yeah,
me in my head.
man, I found that when I do that, like that's when things get more, in my opinion, complicated. Like being
Oh,
a human's complicated, right? So
yeah,
then you're alone with all that stuff, and you're like, we use and I use, and probably the human condition is to use distraction, right, as a way of not coming to grips with some of those complications of being human. Not to get all like weird, but it is a if you were out there by yourself in the middle of a 12-mile run, all alone with nothing to listen to except for your brain, the places it takes you is crazy.
but when I'm running, I don't know what it is, but there's things that I think of that I would not think of otherwise. And
Hands down.
it
Yeah.
helps clear my head. So, and I'll come home and be like, Blake, why didn't we think of this? And we're like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
So
I've come
it
up with a
was,
lot of solutions to a lot of problems by just walking, but I've also come back some days with a lot more questions.
you got to keep running then and figure it
No,
out.
listen.
You got to go train for a marathon.
Yeah, I'm probably a 5K guy. I'm a zone 2 5K guy.
You want to,
Like
yeah.
I know my role. I know where I'm at.
That's
All right, two more things. Have you ever thought of doing something above a marathon, like an endurance race or one of those ultras? I just watched the other day Cam Hanes do like a 250 miler. It took
yeah,
him
no.
like 3.5 days, and he chronicled the whole thing. And I was like, earlier when you were saying, man, I was at mile 10 one day, and I was like, I can't do it. And then I watched like some of these crazies do these hundreds, it's a 100-mile ultra, or I have a buddy of mine that turned 50, and he actually did a 24-hour. And I
Yeah.
think it was, and I don't know if it was a destination or if it was a how many miles can you get in 24 hour type of thing. But that was an ultra, and he did that, and that guy's a savage. I watched Cam Hanes the other night do a 250 thing, and that was like crazy support and crazy mental toughness and crazy physical everything. And have you ever thought about Is another marathon on the horizon, or are we going to go bigger?
I wouldn't do more than a marathon because I like to do other things besides running. And I felt like when I was running for this marathon, I couldn't bike and I couldn't strength train as much. So I would not do more than a marathon. I'm not saying I wouldn't do another marathon. I would probably want to go to Chicago or New York. Um, somebody, one of our friends texted me like the next day after the marathon, and he was like, "Hey, you were real close to Boston qualifying time. You should go for it." And I was like,
Ooh,
uh,
ooh.
so I don't know. My sister is doing High Rocks in a couple weeks, so I think that would be something more on the horizon than running more.
You gonna be able to? You gonna push a sled? You gonna get? You gonna? Are we gonna put a garage gym at your house,
I
bro?
am not as fragile
Are we
as
gonna
you
push?
think.
Are we gonna push some sleds and do some wall
That's the
balls?
thing. I do like to lift, and that was hard for me not to do all of that while I was running, and so I missed that stuff a lot. That's why I don't know if I would do another one.
Yeah, because you can't
I don't
miss
know.
it. But you can strength. You couldn't strength train while you were doing it, or you just
You
didn't feel
could,
like you had the
but
time.
it's different. Like I'm not lifting to make gains and get stronger. I'm lifting to maintain and make sure that I have proper form. Like when you're lifting to run, it's totally different than lifting to get stronger.
Sure. What was going through your head when you crossed the finish line?
Honestly, so my sister did not finish with me. She ran with me until 23 and a half, and then she stopped. I crossed the finish line. I was super happy, and I was concerned about her because the last time I'd seen her, she said she felt like she was going to pass me. So my immediately thought was to her. And then my second thought was to my daughter because she was playing softball. So it was like, I was happy, I was elated, but it was short lived because I was like, well, is Heidi okay? Is Reagan being taken care of? So it was like
On to
normal
the
mom.
next. It was on to the next.
Normal mom's thoughts.
It was marathon check. On to the next.
Yeah, yeah.
How's your sister doing? She okay?
She's okay.
Yeah.
She's mad at herself that she didn't get as good a time as she wanted, but she's doing okay.
As the older sister, has there been any banter about that? About her being weak? About her being the weaker
Because
sister?
she's fast. She's usually a lot faster than me.
Doesn't matter. She's
So
clearly not as tough. Do you tell her that?
she told me that she's never doing this again. I drug her along on my midlife crisis with her. And
it broke her.
she was, yeah, she's like, this is not my thing.
Yeah. Is it all right if I maybe poke a little fun at her sometime?
Absolutely.
Cool?
Yeah, she deserves it. Yeah.
What would you? So the whole point of this whole conversation, I think, sometimes is number one, action breeds motivation, right? So you were on the fence about doing it, and then all of a sudden you kind of started to put things into motion. Once that happens, boom, we're motivated to get working, right? Like we always, a lot of us, it's fun to sit here and think about doing something cool. It makes us feel good for a second, and then we're just like, yeah, that's probably not me. So it was fun to think about. I'll go on about my life, and we never do anything. But for you, once you put it into motion, that's where the motivation started, right? It was like, now I got to get to eating good. I got to get to training. I got to get to doing. And then all of a sudden we fast forward, marathon's over, check it off the box. I feel real cool, which I'm sure you were elated. Like, even though I know that you were like, hey, listen, I just crossed the finish. What was your time, by the way? Tell everybody.
3:43.
3:43. Crushed the 4 hour deal. What's Boston Marathon qualifying time? Do you know?
3:35.
Oh yeah, so you're real close. You're real close.
And I could have, I felt good. I could have gone faster, but it's okay.
Does the course have a lot to do with that though? Like, are there flatter courses? Are there hillier courses? Are there
This one was hilly at the beginning, and then it was flatter towards the end. So, but it was so windy.
Yeah,
like you were running into the wind for quite a bit of it.
That's the downside of living where we live, I guess. We're out of it a little bit, but we're never really out of the wind. It just seems to always be windy here. But once you got the ball rolling on, you started putting the pieces together and you signed up, and then after that, that's when everything caught us in. So and I know that our job sometimes gives us a lot of time, honestly, but it also takes away a lot of time. Like night shifts in 24 hours, that takes away 2 days, right? And so if you do a night shift and a 24 in the same week, it basically takes away 4 days. Where I sometimes think, and I don't know this because I've never really had a 9 to 5 job, where you could get up in the morning before work every day and train, and you could have the same thing for breakfast and the same thing for lunch, and you could have the same evening routine and the same recovery. Where when you and I do it, it's a different
Sleep
deal.
was a huge thing. Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
and
just,
honestly, I took 2 24s off to train because I'm maxed on PTO, and I was supposed to run or I was supposed to have a 24 on like a Thursday, and then coaching softball, I would have a tournament that whole weekend. So I was like, I can't possibly get a 18-mile run in. When am I supposed to do this?
yeah,
So
take
there
the day
was
off.
times I just put my 24 out, see if someone would take it, and they did.
Yeah.
Our schedule made it incredibly difficult, but I got lucky that people would work for me and I had the PTO.
Yeah. I look
So
at people like Hannah that did, the half Ironman. She's done 2 or 3, I think, by now.
yeah,
And she works 2 jobs.
yeah.
Same deal. Mom, wife, all the things, daughter, all the stuff. They still find ways to do it. So anyway, I think it's pretty cool. Like, it's a big deal. And I hope
Yeah.
the people that listen understand it's a big deal. And you've already done it, which means that anybody else can do it too.
Anyone
Right?
can do
Not
it.
that you, but I'm saying like, well, one
Yeah.
person can do, another person can do, right? Like it's not a.
You really can't. Like this was very mental. Very mental. Like you can go out and even if you have to walk, like you could do it. It required sacrifice and a lot of hard work and effort and
Did you
thought.
ever skip training because you felt like shit, or like you were demotivated, or you kind of felt bad for yourself, or whatever, or did you
Not
just
that
go out and
I
grind out the miles?
Never that I felt bad for myself. That like 2 weeks that I was really sick, I allowed myself some grace on those 2 weeks because I knew I needed to listen to my body. And so I cut my miles back a couple. I think I wrote it on my training thing. I cut back a few miles that week, but otherwise I stuck to the plan.
You followed it pretty close, right on it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Would you do anything different on your next one?
I don't know. I don't know if I would do. I think I would maybe do more strength training, just because I think that was maybe some of my issues with my hips and my glutes.
Yeah.
But I felt so good the day of running that I don't know what I would do different.
Yeah. Well, if there's nothing you would do different, it sounds like you nailed it.
Try to go
Like,
fast. I mean, I could obviously go faster, but
that experience will pay off in the next one a lot. Like your next marathon, if you choose to do one, probably exponentially will improve just based on knowledge and the fact that you got through this first one.
well, it felt good. I crossed the finish line and there was a guy like an older guy that was behind me. And he was like, "Hey, you were great. You were my pacer this whole time. Thanks. You ran strong. You looked great." And he was like, "This had to have been a PR, right?" And I was like, "What was my first?" He's like, "No way. You look amazing." He's like, "You look like you've done this forever." I was like, "Well, thank you, sir."
Yeah, that's great. I know that when me and my youngest were sitting there waiting for you to run by, we saw some savages, man. Like, not to take anything away from anybody, but there were just some savages out there. I don't
There
know
was.
what they would. We were on mile probably 14-ish, right around in 13.1, 14, right in there, which, a little over halfway or whatever. And man, it was fun to watch. And they were going uphill and they were just turning it over.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. There's obviously things I could do different. I mean, I get a coach and see if my training was right, but figure out my nutrition a little bit better. But I'm not a professional runner. So
yeah, I get it. It's a hobby. It was a milestone. It was a goal. It was a hobby, right? Yep. Like same thing with all of us. We're all amateurs when it comes to certain things, unless we're getting, paid money to perform. So there's no. Yeah, you got to give yourself some grace on that deal. We're just all doing this for fun, whatever this is.
I want my kids to see you can do hard things.
Yes. Did they? And that'll lead to them doing stuff too. It might not be a marathon, but it might be something.
Reagan's already told me. Sorry, Mom. I'm not a
Reagan's not.
distance.
She's out. She's like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do that. That sounds
No,
terrible.
it's like, that's
It's a
fine.
long time to run, man. Like if you don't have a good attention span, it's a long. I get bored. I get bored after. Remember that year I tried to beat your 5K time?
Yes, I
It
do.
was awful. It was terrible. It was dumb of me to even shoot my mouth off. But I think now with.
Are we gonna do it now?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. It won't be this winter. I don't have a treadmill anymore. My treadmill finally after 20 years. My treadmill finally died, so it's gonna have to wait till after winter. I don't run outside in the cold.
Anytime.
The last half of that was unnecessary. I don't run outside really, but I will. Yeah, we'll try it again. I need something to do now that I don't have enough to do after winter. I'm actually in the process right now of moving my gym out of the garage back into my basement because 38 degrees is a little chilly.
It's cold.
Cold.
Gotta protect that.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Thanks for doing this. I know we probably could have done it some other time, but this is cool too. I do appreciate it, and stay on here real quick while I shut us off. But it's pretty cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.